Hi, my name is Ben. Welcome to Ben's Language Lab. Stories are one of the best methods to improve at a language, and stories with pictures are even better. So today we're going to read a comic together. This video is meant for beginner-level English learners, and if you need, there are subtitles available, or you can see the entire transcript on benslanguagelab.com. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this one. For now, your job is to watch, listen, and enjoy. Currently, we're reading Tintin and the Black Island. If you haven't seen the other episodes, click on the link in the description to watch from the beginning. All right, let's start learning. So last time, Tintin and Snowy had jumped down onto a train, right? They're on top of a train right now. Well, they actually just went inside because remember, they're chasing after some bad guys. Let's see if we can see them, right? Remember, they were in this car. They were running away because they had a bunch of money. They had fake money. And so Tintin and Snowy are chasing them. And they have just gone inside the train that the bad guys are on. So let's see what happens. And so we see, here they are. Here are the bad guys. And this is Herr Müller and Ivan. Ivan is sitting, reading the paper, as you will. And Müller goes outside as he has a cigarette in his hand. And he goes outside or into the corridor and says, I'm just going to wash. Keep an eye, that's supposed to be a Y. That looks like a V. Keep an eye on that sack. And Ivan says, okay. And we see him walking down the corridor. He's walking down the corridor and sees Tintin. He swears and Tintin goes, uh-oh, he saw me. And so Müller starts to run in the other direction. He's running down the corridor as Tintin is chasing him. Stop, he says, stop where you are. And Snowy is also running with him. And we see this man comes out to see what's going on. He says, what's going on? And the man, and as Tintin's yelling, stop him! And whoosh, he collides or crashes into, I was trying to say those two words at the same time. He crashes into the man. And then this guy comes out and says, now then, young man. And Tintin says, let me get past. Because now this man is upset. Now then, young man, what are you doing? What are you running around for? But Tintin, he wants to go. Let me go past. And now we see then Müller comes back and he says, get out of here. Tintin on the train. Tintin's on the train. On the train. I'm trying to do my German accent again. Got to remember. And so Ivan goes, huh? Tintin is on the train? What are we going to do? And so he grabs the money. He grabs the money under his arm and they start to run. They're both running down the corridor as Ivan looks behind him to see where Tintin is. And they're running as fast as they can. You see them both sweating here. They're both worried. Ooh, are we going to escape? Are we going to get off the train? And now we see them in the dining car, right? Remember, we're on a train, so that's the window to the outside of the train. And there's some tables, right? And there's people. They're sitting at the tables and they're smoking or they're eating their food, right? And they're in the dining car or the dining room. And we see the two men running through the dining room. And so now Tintin goes, more delay, all those questions. They'd have kept me talking all day. There isn't a moment to lose. So delay is when something takes a long time, right? You're waiting. Come on, let's go. That's a delay. Or if somebody gets hit, oof, right? That's a delayed reaction, right? And so Tintin is being stopped by these men, right? This is a delay. Oops, delay. Delay, more delay. Time is ticking. Because they asked a lot of questions. Who are you? Where are you going? What are you doing? Right? They're asking a lot of questions. And they would have kept on talking all day, making more delay. And so now he has to keep going. There isn't a moment to lose. No time to be polite. Polite is when you're nice to somebody. Excuse me, pardon me, I would like to go through, please. Instead, he's not being polite and goes, whoosh, and he crashes right into the waiter as he's offering to this poor lady, a little chicken for you, madam. And she says, yes, a little chicken for me, right? And this is chicken, right? It's the bird that you eat. And then Tintin says, sorry, as he goes boosh, right past that man and knocks the chicken right out of his hands. And we see the chicken goes splat right into this person. Well, actually, the chicken falls, but the tray or the plate that it was on hits this man right in the head. Right in the back of the head. And of course, Snowy grabs the chicken and happily follows Tintin. And so now we see that Ivan and Müller are outside, and Ivan says, yes, I've almost finished, as he's doing something here with the train, with the part between the train. He's doing something there. And Müller says, right? And so now we go, and Tintin realizes, hey, what's going on? The train's pulling up. And so pulling up, in this case, is slowing down. I know up and down, right? But when you pull up, it's when you go, right? You sort of slow down and brake to stop moving. So he was going, right? The train is pulling up because they deconnected the trains. They disconnected the trains. And Ivan says, that's it. The automatic brake will soon stop the coaches. A coach is another name for a train car, right? So this is a coach. This is a coach here. And so there's a brake inside, an automatic brake. And so the brakes are what stop the train, right? When they sort of, the wheels are going, and the brakes are going to sort of stop them so they go, when the entire train slows down. That's what a brake is. An automatic means that it will start without somebody pressing a button, right? The train will stop itself. And so, and Müller says, bravo, well done, good job. And Tintin looks out the door and says, they've got away, cunning devils. Right, the devil is the devil, right? But you can also use it to refer to somebody who is doing something maybe evil or clever or whatever it is, right? In this case, they're doing something a little bit evil, and they're doing something cunning. That's a good word. Cunning is when you're smart, but not in like a bookish way. It's when you have good ideas, right? You come up with clever things to do. So it's sort of like smart, but it's in a way that is more specific. In this case, they had the idea to disconnect the train to get away. And then Tintin says, I can't say I'm sorry. I can now enjoy my dinner in peace. Because, of course, Snowy is happy. He has a whole chicken to eat, of course, obviously. And so he doesn't want to keep running after the criminals. He wants to eat his chicken, right? Here's his chicken right there, because he's also all tired and they're covered in soot or gunk or whatever that is. I'm not really sure. It's some dirty substance. And so now they get off the train and he says, come on, Snowy, we've got no time to hang around. It may be hours before a relief engine arrives. And so they can't hang around. They can't just sit here hanging around, right? They have to go and find the men. And so they're going to go find them because it may be hours, right? Whole hours before a relief engine comes to pick up the train. This is actually an engine. The engine is the front of the train that pulls everything forward. It's the part that has the motor that actually drags the entire train. And a relief engine is the one that comes to help, right? Because this train can't move, right? This train doesn't have an engine with it. And so it needs help. It needs some relief. And so a relief engine will come around in a few hours. And so they keep walking. They go down the tracks, right? They're walking together. Snowy has his chicken and Tintin is determined. He's walking like this. And then we hear choo choo. And we see that there's a train coming around the bend on the other side. And Tintin says, "Look, Snowy, we're in luck. We have luck today. There's a goods train just moving off." So moving off means that it's just starting to go, right? It's slow, right? So it's going slowly right now. It's moving off. And goods means that there's no people on it. It's just stuff, goods, right? So there might be boxes in there or whatever it might be. I don't know what's inside there, but there's no people. There's not somebody inside in there, right? That's a person sitting in there. Right? There's nobody in there. It's just stuff. And so they're going to get on it, right? And so we see, hup, he throws he throws Snowy onto the back of the train car, and then he himself jumps on, whoops, and he grabs onto the thing. Yeah, so here's what we see. It's actually got whiskey in it. Whiskey is a drink, right? It's an alcoholic beverage made of barley or wheat or rye, and it's usually sort of an amber color. Let's see. Can we get some whiskey color in here? Sort of like this color almost, right? So this is hello? This color. Done. This is sort of the color of whiskey, but it's a little bit lighter. I'm going to go back to my red now, though. And so we see that it's carrying whiskey. And so they jump onto the train, and now they're sitting there together. And then they're eating the chicken together, right? Tintin is very hungry, right? Ooh, I'm hungry. I want to eat something. And so they're eating together, and we see the entire train and this nice large shot here, right? This entire panel, right, is just the train to give us a little bit of time to rest, right? And Snowy says, "Long time since this was an egg," right? An egg obviously is where the chicken comes from, right? The little circular thing. And then it grows up into a little chick and then becomes a chicken. And then it gets killed and becomes chicken like this, right? So a long time since it was an egg. And now we see, here's the train going along. We see little Tintin and Snowy on the train. So now let's go see what happens. So now this is to sort of say time has passed, right? It's now a couple hours later or something. And we see Snowy is asleep. And Tintin is sitting there. And Snowy realizes, bonk, something lands on his nose. What was that, right? He goes, "Hello, it's raining." And then he goes, he licks it off of his nose and says, "Golly, that's not water, but it's got a certain something all the same." And so then he realizes, aha, there must be a leak. And we see that there's some liquid coming out. However, we know that it's whiskey, which is alcoholic, right? Which means that it has alcohol in it, which is probably not the best thing for dogs to be drinking. And so we see that Tintin says to himself, "Better try to clean myself up," right? He's all dirty, right? He's got dirt on his arms, on his face, and so he's going to take a cloth and he's going to kind of clean himself, right? Sort of clean things off of his face and tidy himself up a bit, or clean myself up. And so now we see Snowy is lying down, drinking the liquid that's dripping out of there, and Tintin's a lot more clean, right? He doesn't have any spots on him anymore, right? He used to have dirt on his face here, right? But that's no longer there. And now we see that the conductors at the front of the train say, "Stop!" And then Tintin wonders, a station? And that's a place to stop. A station? No, I wonder why they've stopped. Why did they stop? I don't know. And so then this guy gets off and he says, "What in the world? An engine just sitting there?" Right? So the train isn't moving, right? It's not going anywhere. It's stopped, totally stopped. And so they're wondering what's happening. Why is the train just stopped there? That's really weird. And so Tintin realizes, oh, it's the one they hijacked. Müller must have abandoned it. But where did they go? The driver may give me a lead. Right, so let's break down these words here. Hijacked, abandoned, and a lead. I think those are the main words that might be difficult. So hijacked is a great word, and that's when somebody takes control of a vehicle or something that isn't theirs, right? So Müller and Ivan, they went to the front of the train, right? We see this is the conductor, and they hit him on the head or something like that, and they hijacked the train. They were now driving the train. But then they abandoned it. They left it, right? If you abandon something, you leave it there, right? And you go somewhere else, right? So the train was abandoned. Nobody was driving it anymore, and they went off on their own, right? So maybe they went this way or that way, whatever it is, but they're not on the train. They left it behind. And the last thing is a lead, which is like a clue. We've seen these before. Tintin likes to investigate. He likes to find clues. He likes to find leads and then follow them. Right? And so right now he's looking for a lead that will give him somewhere to go. It'll lead him on to find Müller and Ivan and the fake money. And so now we see that there's the other drivers. They find Bert and they ask him, "Bert, are you all right? What happened?" Because he's like, ooh. And so now he says, "A couple of thugs climbed into the cab, made us drive on, and then ordered me to stop. One of them got behind us, clobbered me with a spanner. I went out like a light, I didn't see which way they went." So thugs we've seen before, right? Those are the bad guys, right? Those are the Ivan and Müller. They're the thugs. And they climbed up into the cab. Cab is another name for where the driver sits, right? So this is the cab, right? So they climbed up into the cab. Not this one exactly, where this guy was. Then they made us drive on, right? So keep going, drive on. And then they ordered me to stop. They told me to stop. One of them got behind us, so they went behind them, and then whoopsh, they clobbered them on the head. To clobber is a strong word for hit, right? Boosh, you just clobber somebody right in the head. And a spanner is like a stick, or I think we learned a kosh in the last episode, right? There's basically a thing that you hit somebody on the head with. Nothing interesting. And then he went out like a light. And that's a way to say when somebody just completely is knocked out or goes to sleep, because it's like turning off a light, right? If you turn off a light, it goes totally dark, right? And so that's why we say out like a light, right? So quickly, so fast, it's just like a light turning off. And so Bert didn't see which way they went. So they could have gone this way or this way or this way or this way. Bert couldn't see anything because he was knocked out. He was out like a light. However, if we want to figure out what happens next and how Tintin finds them, we're going to have to see that in the next episode, because we're going to leave it there for today. Thanks for watching and enjoying. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and comment down below with how it went. What word did you learn? I'm curious. And remember, there are transcripts for all episodes on benslanguagelab.com. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.